everyone. The success story that is Te Akau began some 40 years ago at Te Akau Stud, founded by David Ellis. David Ellis has been the leading buyer at New Zealand Bloodstock's Karaka yearling sale for the past 18 years. And of course, he also makes significant presence felt at Australian yearling sales as well. With a tangerine army of loyal owners and the supporters, Te Akau has yet again achieved the rare milestone of being the champion stable in two countries in the same season, both in New Zealand and in Singapore. Te Akau Racing smashed every racing record in New Zealand last season. The stable set a new record for domestic wins, 160, a new record for New Zealand group wins, 36 plus 4 in Australia, and a new record for Group 1 wins, 15, and one winning almost $8 million in stakes for its owners. How is this achieved? Well, it's through dedication, energy and vision. A desire to be the best with amazing owners and a world-class team, ensuring every thoroughbred in their care reaches its potential and fulfills its promise. It's really tangerine magic, many parts coming together dynamically and professionally to make this well-oiled machine one of the very best in the industry. Coming back to where it all began and made such an impression is Te Akau trainer Mark Walker, a man who has been champion trainer 9 times in 2 countries. One day, a young man at a high school, armed with his CV, arrived at Te Akau Stud and asked David Ellis for a job. Although there were no vacancies, David took the time to read the CV as he liked the approach and the attitude of this young man. He promptly hired him and the Te Akau Mark Walker story began. The rest, as they say, is history. Mark has worked for David ever since leaving high school, and today they are business partners. David freely admits that apart from marrying Karen, employing Mark is the best decision he's ever made. An outstanding horseman, Walker led the way among New Zealand horse trainers, dominating New Zealand racing in the decade to 2010 before heading to Singapore to establish the Te Akau stables at Kranji. Results speak volumes for both his trainer and as a trainer, and also his ability to lead a team. Appointed as head Te Akau trainer aged 25, Mark was the youngest ever to win the Trainers' Premiership. In total, he won 5 New Zealand Trainers' Premierships in 7 years. His last season, before heading to Singapore, he set a new New Zealand record for wins in a season, 108. 28 more than the closest rival. In doing so, he broke the 17-year-old record set by Dave and Paul O'Sullivan. And he still holds the New Zealand record for 2-year-old wins in a season. In Singapore, Mark Walker was champion trainer in 2015-17 with a record 87 wins in 2019 and 2021, and was runner-up 3 times as well as a 3rd and a 4th. We're going to go now to Te Akau's new New Zealand trainer. He's back big time. Let's welcome in Mark Walker, and right alongside him is the man that makes Te Akau happen. It's David Ellis. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, Andrew.
Well,
great to be with you, Andrew.
Fantastic to talk to you, Dave. Hey, I've got to come to you, David Ellis, first and say, when that young bloke walked through with the CV, did you instantly think, I've got to look at this, or did you? What were your initial thoughts?
Well, actually, that night I was having a beer, and I thought I'd better read that CV. He was a pretty impressive young guy, and after I read it, I rang him and I said, I'll make a job available for you.
And away it went. Mark, were you surprised when you got the call from David saying, hey, come and be a part of it?
Yeah, initially when I approached him, there wasn't any jobs available. So I said, can I just leave my CV with you? And I wasn't expecting a phone call straight away, but yeah, it was quite exciting at the time. And yeah, as history shows, it was probably a great decision by myself to leave my CV, and hopefully a great decision by Dave to give me a ring.
I know I've just gone through all your record, Mark, but at that time when you were going to Te Akau, what horse history did you have? Had you been around it? You obviously wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. I was born in Taranaki, and I rode a lot of show jumping and eventing there, and I came up to Hamilton, the Waikato, when we were moved farms. So I was 17. So I just felt once I'd finished school, I just felt I'd like a year off to just decide what to do. And one day I was riding track work for Graham Rogerson before going to school in the mornings. And the reason I only fell into racing by mistake. There was a girl down the corner of the road, Andrew, and girls to take out in Hamilton were a lot more expensive than in Taranaki. So that was the only reason I applied for the job and got it. So yeah, it was funny how it turned out.
Oh, gee, Dave, all that, and it could have been another way. It could have ended up, he could have been owning the corner shop rather than chasing the girl. David, what made you then, I mean, in seriousness, you can look at a CV and things like that, but what made you ultimately think Mark's the right person for a job here?
We just instantly impressed everybody that worked with him. He's the hardest working guy that I've ever met. He's intelligent, and that's probably why he got a scholarship to go to university. And just a great horseman. When you see him riding a horse, you just don't see a better rider, and just a great all-round horseman.
Now, we've come through the recent Karaka sale, and you and Mark were there active. It must have been good for you, Mark, to be back in New Zealand, out of quarantine and being at the sale.
Yeah, Andrew, that's something I really missed, being part of the team at Karaka, and we'd been going there for so many years together as a team, and that was, COVID was tough for many, many reasons, but it was just fantastic to be back there. And New Zealand breeds so many good horses, and they punch above their weight no matter where they race in the world. So it's always good being part of that system.
Dave, we're about to go through some yearlings, but before we do that, how was it for you? You had a few Australian back there that are New Zealand citizens. How was the overview of the sale this year?
I think everybody was in awe with the way New Zealand Bloodstock ran the sale. I think overall it was a huge success. Yeah, we're just so over the moon with the horses that we've got here on the farm, and we're just in the process of breaking them in. And when you see what we've got to train for the next few seasons and the quality of yearlings that we've got, it is really exciting time for Te Akau racing.
We'll go through those in a moment. Mark, is there anything that you look forward? When you look at a yearling, you're going to purchase one. Is there anything that you want to see in a yearling, every one, or are they just totally different for you?
I think first and foremost, you're just looking for an athlete, Andrew. So that personally, I look at the horse before I even look at the page. I just want to see an athlete, and no matter what it's by or out of, if it isn't an athlete, personally, it just doesn't really interest me. So it just first and foremost, and I think that's the most important thing.
And Mark, being back at Te Akau after your stint in Singapore, to be back there now, does it feel like home again, that you've really missed it over the last decade?
Yeah, well, I've really missed the important part of developing young horses. Obviously in Singapore, all the horses that come up, they're ready-made, they've already trialled. Actually, some of them have often raced. So I've really missed that aspect of it. But, I haven't necessarily missed those cold winter mornings, but I'll have to get used to that pretty quickly.
Yeah, they're going to approach very, very quickly. Hey, David, you've won 6 Karaka Millions. Have you bought something that Mark can come back and win another one, make it 7?
Well, I think last year we finished first, second, third and fourth. So I don't know whether we can do that again, Andrew, but we've certainly got the nicest bunch of young horses you'd ever see in a lifetime. And we've deliberately bought horses for that $1 million race. We've bought nice 3-year-olds, nice Oaks fillies, nice Derby colts. We've bought something for everybody.
Well, let's have a look at a few of them, and I'll get you guys to give us our thoughts when people are watching this, and of course they can contact you guys at any time regarding them. But the first one is lot 7 from the sale. Dave, this is a Ace High filly that you bought recently.
Yep, this is a filly that we bought from Rich Hill Farm, and this could be a Karaka Million filly. Very precocious, strong, beautiful athletic walk, moves beautifully, good attitude, and has done extremely well since the sale.
It's got big ears too, Dave, big ears.
That's a big plus.
It is. That's lot number 7 through the recent sale. We're getting an array, Mark, of new stallions, and Stefanos is one that's been proving popular. The deep impact, of course, the link there. You bought lot 32, which is a filly by Stefanos.
Yes, Andrew, and we all know how good those Japanese sires are. They've been down to Melbourne. They've won Caulfield Cups, Cox Plates, Melbourne Cups from very, very limited runners. So we know how tough they are. And this filly in particular comes from a very, very good family, and a family that does run as autumn 2-year-olds, but train on to be very, very good staying horses. Obviously, the great Derby horses in the pedigree. And I just feel this filly was great value,
And
just by the way she walked.
And Dave, with these that we're looking at, you paid all sort of different figures. I think it's something that people think sometimes with Te Akau, that you're spending always the large amounts of money, but you like to spread it, don't you?
Absolutely. And this filly is by Ace High, and she's just so classy.
Yeah, beautiful. Let's move on to lot 96. This is a Kermadec filly, a Kermadec colt, I should say, that you bought through the recent sale. As I say, it was lot 96 for those that may be looking at the catalogue. The sun out makes them really attractive here, Mark.
Oh, exactly. And then you only had to watch the races on Saturday. He had another Group 1 winner winning the Ramvic Stakes and beating Very Elegant. So we know how good the sire is, and he was a great balanced colt. And one of our horse breakers, Paul Batab, actually took a share in it. That's how much he rated the horse. So he's gone off to Paul's property to be broken on already. And, you know, he's just got a lot of scope, a lot of size, a lot of muscle about him. And even though the Kermadecs do seem to get better as 3-year-olds, I wouldn't be surprised to see this horse winning a 2-year-old race earlier than his pedigree suggests.
The next one that we want to show is lot 163, Dave. This is a Seamus Award filly through the recent sale. And again, you've bought a mixture here, I note, a few fillies and a few colts.
Yeah, well, Seamus Award is a son of Schnitzel. He's doing really well as a sire. I think this filly could well be in the Karaka Million, but she's definitely got enough scope to go on and be an Oaks filly. And she's just a ripper of a type, a beautiful filly. We thought we bought her well under the odds. It's just hard to buy these really top class fillies, and to buy her for what we did, we were just so thrilled.
Lot 167, not long after that, Seamus Award was in the Coney colt that went through, Mark, that you've purchased for the future. And again, as I say, this is a colt.
Yes, Andrew, and comes off the famed Penkarish stud. What we really liked about this horse, just very athletic, which we normally look for, but we just felt he could end up in the race at Karaka Million, but he had enough size and scope to train on, hopefully to be a 2,000 guineas colt. And we just felt Nakoni's a very, very underrated sire. Obviously, one of the best horses in Australia is by Nakoni. So he's got enough scope about him to train on to get a mile, but we do feel he could be our very first 2-year-old winner next season. He's got that much about him being an athlete.
Also, Andrew, like Dynastic, who won the Karaka Million this year, this colt's out of a Volksrad mare, and she herself is out of a Sadler's Wells mare. So it doesn't get any better than that. And there's only one share in this colt, and the really great group of young people in New Zealand called the Boys Get Paid
yes,
have taken 40% in this colt. And, we think that he is a Karaka Million colt, and just an absolute stunning individual.
The way you're talking and the way that they purchased into this colt, just off what Mark said, that he can be a Karaka horse, but he can also develop into his 3 and 4 year olds, Mark, the way that you just spoke about him.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, if he happened to win a good race, it'll be a hell of a party with those boys get paid involved, that's for sure.
For sure. Gee, they had some massive times over the summer carnival. A Zoo Star filly was lot 296 that went through the recent sale. Dave, looking at this one, the sun setting late afternoon, about lot 296.
Yeah, well, I liked this filly so much when I fed her 2 mornings ago, breakfast, that I took a share in her for Karen. And she's just, a stunning filly, again, by a great sire from a great female family. And, to have fillies like this in our stable is such a thrill because they don't come around every day.
No, that's the big key. And we're getting an array of stallions here. Not a single doubt, as we know, very valuable. And Mark, lot 486, this was a filly that you purchased.
Yeah, well, as you know, not a single doubt, he's not serving anymore. So,
yep.
They're really collector's items, these types of fillies. And if ever you saw an early maturing, get up and go early filly, I think it'd be this filly. Should be more than likely trialling in August. And a lot of our great 2-year-olds over the years have always trialled in August. They had an early prep, then a bit of a break, and then they're back ready for the Karaka Millions and all the good 2-year-old races after Christmas as well. So I do think this will be one of the very, very more mature horses we bought throughout the entire sale.
One other thing that we liked about this filly is that she's out of a mare by More Than Ready,
right,
who's out of an Encosta de Lago mare,
yeah,
who's out of a Danehill mare, who's out of a mare by Bletchingly. 4 of the great stallions that have stood in the Southern Hemisphere in the last 50 years. So this filly has a beautiful pedigree and has a huge amount of class.
I'm starting to feel that no wonder you chose Mark when he put that CV in front of you. Mark wants to look at the yearling first, but then you've got the book of knowledge, the catalogue in front of you, Dave. You like looking at the history as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important. The history books don't tell lies. And, I think that pedigrees and breeding statistics are a very important part of the equation.
Well, the last one that we want to look at is lot 532 through the recent sale. This is an Al Mansour colt. Dave, you want to have a crack at this one?
Yeah, well, like Dynastic, this colt's by Al Mansour. And we had a look at every yearling in the sale, and we all thought that this was the best Al Mansour in the sale. And I thought we would have had to have paid double what we did to buy him. He's just the most beautiful moving colt, lovely action, correct, well balanced, just an absolute ripper. And we're breaking him in here at the moment, and I can tell you the girls just think that he's a superstar. Great attitude and magnificent athletic individual.
So there's a sequence. Now, we've got a page that we're going to show you about all the purchases that you bought at the Karaka sale. But in doing that, the one thing that we've gleaned in that sort of 6 to 8 horses that we've shown there is really just the variety. You've looked across the board on what you wanted for the future.
Exactly. There's fillies and that we've bought for $40,000, for $100,000, so that everybody can be involved in racing a horse with Te Akau. There's colts that we've bought for $150,000, $160,000, $200,000. We bought a Savabeel colt for $110,000. All good pedigrees, all good sound athletic colts and fillies, and Yeah, that's what Mark's got to train.
That's it. And the other key aspect that was seen on that graphic was that you can buy. You don't have to buy 50% of the horse. You can buy as little as 2.5%, and maybe get a group of mates together, or the ladies can come together and be a part of them, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite incredible. When we won the 2,000 guineas with Extravagant a few years ago, there was one guy, and he was saying Extravagant's my horse. Now, he only had a small share in the horse. And the great thing about syndication is you do think you own the horse.
Yeah.
The size of the share is absolutely irrelevant.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about it. And we encourage all our owners to think they own the horse, because they do.
Well, the Tangerine is celebrating great times. You put the effort into it. And Mark, for you personally to come back and oversee the team going forward, this must be another rich vein of sort of enthusiasm that you just want to get into it again.
Yeah, Andrew, I just think it's a new chapter again. It's got a perfect bit of timing about my return, and just can't wait to rip into it, especially with the new season with the 2-year-olds. But there's a lot of older horses there that have been given time to mature, and I think we'll see the best of them next season as well. You
got him a Tiako sort of rug or something for the winter time, Dave?
No, we probably should get one though, Andrew.
Yeah, we know how brisk it's going to be. The one thing that we've learnt today is the passion of Tiako, from David Ellis, who obviously kick-started, but from Mark Walker as well. Thank you both for joining us. We urge people to go to the Tiako website. There's a lot more detail about them. Don't ever be afraid of picking the phone up. The numbers are all there on the website, and that's the way to go to be a part of the Tangerine Army. Thanks a lot, David Ellis, and also good luck to you, Mark Walker.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
That completes our summary of what's happened in recent times. You can enjoy it, Tiako and the Tangerine. Check it all out at their website.
Be part of the champion team, Team Tiako. Feel the passion in the pulse, from the sail to the saddle. If you want to win the Karaka Million, no one does it better. Our results speak for themselves. Our horses have won 6 Karaka 2-year-old millions in a row. If you'd like to race a Probabile, Avantage, or Tiako Shark, all bought and trained by Tiako, chat with us live online now at tiakoracing.com. You'll love being part of New Zealand's #1 stable. Go the Tangerine!